everyone, Trish Charleston here, also known as the Cowboy's wife. I'm no expert on anything and I don't claim to be, but I have been alive for 56 years, so I have some funny stories. Come saddle up with me and take a ride, and maybe I can make you laugh or smile or cry or give you something to just think about that day. Let's do this. Hey, good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about being a hoarder. A hoarder. So let's make sure we're understanding this properly. So this weekend, my daughter needed a shower curtain for her horse trailer. We're getting ready to go this roping, and her shower broke. And so she said, "Mom, do you have a shower curtain and some of those, shower curtain rod holder hanger thingies?" I did. I mean, why do I have an extra shower curtain? But I did not have I will say I didn't have the shower curtain holders. So I will have to order those. But I was able to just tie them up with some little raffia string things. It honestly looks cuter than shower curtain holders ever thought about looking. So I think I may have started a new trend. But it was just funny because I thought about I come by it honestly because my grandpa he just wouldn't get rid of anything. And so I am just like him because in a pinch, I just want to have what I need. And it's comical to my family. Last night, I also apparently like Deets from Lonesome Dove. I won't get rid of a garment. I've had the same hairbrush apparently for as long as my children have been alive. That is not true. It might be true, but I've been losing my hair, and they are convinced that it has nothing to do with COVID or menopause or any of those things, that it's just my crappy hairbrush that I refuse to get rid of. And several years ago, Emma got me a new one, and it's real pretty, and I kept it, but I still keep using my old hairbrush. Well, last night, they were just really reaming me because when they came over to swim, and Quincy and the kids all took a shower in our shower afterwards, which I just could hear them giggling in the other room. It was so funny. We have this giant shower, and literally all three of them were in there showering, which was really fun. Then they used my deodorant, all my things, and my hairbrush. I'm like, listen, I didn't ask you to use my hairbrush. She told Emma, I lost a lot of hair. I'm like, shut up. That is not doing it. Well, now they've got me freaked out thinking that may be it. And so I've been trying not to use it, but I'm not throwing it away. So I can blame Grandpa for that. But I remember one time my mom, we bought this place and my grandpa had financed it for us. And so he'd come out here and work all the time. And it was just the greatest time because Kevin would have other plans. We had this 80 acres and Kevin would have all these plans of things to do. And here come the big blue truck. And so that meant we were doing your plans didn't matter anymore. And Grandpa never expected him to help, but there's no way he could let Grandpa just be out here working by himself. So we'd be burning brush and picking up rocks, and Grandpa would pile rocks around the trees, which just drove Kevin nuts because you can't pick them up with a tractor or anything if they're against the trees. And I still find little piles around the farm of where my grandpa piled rocks, and they are just precious to me now. But one day it was really cold and we were burning brush and we were getting ready to move our trailer house in on the North 40. And my mom was cold, and I will never forget it as long as I live. And Grandpa said, she goes, "Boy, I wish I had another pair of socks," because her feet were really cold. And Grandpa pulls out another pair of socks out of the back of this truck. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, anything that you needed, he had in the back of this camper. And it was just hilarious. And not only that, he had his name on everything. And Kevin thinks I'm nuts because I want to put my name on everything. But I'm telling you, I completely blame my grandpa for it. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that he went through the Depression, and his things, he worked really hard to get his things, and his things mattered to him and he wanted them back. And so when, he loaned you something, he knew it was his because his name was on it. And I think that's pretty cool. Well, when you're thinking about your name being on something, and I was talking about that in my podcast last week, how important it is when we see our name, God's name is on us too. He created all of us. And so we are his, and completely unrelated instance here, but this weekend, I spoke at the Doug Hazelbaker Memorial Roping. I did the church service. I was not supposed to do the church service, but I was voluntold that I was going to do the church service. And no, I'm just kidding. I had kind of an option. Savannah and I were both voluntold, but I had some stuff. I had just done a podcast, and so I had a little bit of stuff. And I was also doing this Bible study I really liked, and Savannah is doing the same. And we decided that we should talk about words and things. And before we got started, this little girl was going to sing a couple of songs, and she got up to sing, and she was precious, the sweetest thing. And she started singing that song, "Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Oh, I'm fine." Something like that. And we do that all the time. When somebody asks you how you're feeling, you just say, "You're fine. I'm fine." When in fact, most of the time we're not, we're broken, which is what the song goes ahead and says. And this sweet child, and I mean, she's probably not even, I bet she's 16. If she's maybe not even 16, maybe she's 16. Everybody looks so much younger to me now, obviously. But she just starts sobbing, singing this song. And first of all, I'm supposed to follow that, but I want to just wrap her up in a blanket and rock her like a baby, but I just put my hands on her and tried to rub her back and console her a little bit. And she just couldn't hardly get through the song. So we all tried to kind of start singing it with her just to get her through the song. But I thought, if this child feels this broken at her young age, how desperate are some people that have really gone through some fire? And I'm not saying she hasn't. Obviously she is, and I don't know what it is, and God bless her. I need to remember her in my prayers and the fact that she was able just to get up there and do it at all, just sing. She just had a little microphone and a little speaker with her. I mean, she was so prepared, way more prepared than I was. And it was just, it killed everybody. I mean, it was so true. And so the other day I gave an example of how we don't know what somebody's going through, and how we should oftentimes actually have a conversation with them. And when you ask somebody how you're doing and really listen to what they say in response, and don't be in a hurry, when you do it. We're all just rushing around, trying to be in a hurry to do all these things. And we need to slow down. I mean, I understand time goes by so quickly, and we don't think we have time to get anything done. In fact, I decided a couple weeks ago, I'm going to start getting up earlier because I just don't have enough time in the day. I don't have time to write. I don't have time to do this podcast. I have not seen cows in 6 months, and I don't miss them, but I honestly, I just need to get back outside. I really do. And so I thought I'll just get up early. So comically this morning, God thought it would be real funny to just have all of the fire alarms in our house, just their batteries just quit all at the same time. So it wasn't super early. It was around 6 o'clock or 6:30 even, which is early enough for me, but it just beep, beep, beep. I am one of those people that when I write, I have to have complete silence. When I think I have to have complete silence, I cannot have a dripping faucet. I cannot have a television. I cannot have a phone, nothing. And the cowboy was like, "Oh, hey, well, I can't fix it. So see you later." And just left. I'm like, this is my office. I understand you get to leave and go somewhere else and, have people do things for you there. I don't have that here. I mean, I do have that here. Anyway, so what's he do? He calls Bryce and said, "Hey, go help my wife because she's in a pickle." And these things were hardwired into the ceiling. So why on earth is there a battery in it to begin with? Of course, I didn't have, first time in my life, the Hoarder only had one 9-volt battery. I had one, but I needed two. So I had to go to the store and get these batteries. And they finally stopped. When Bryce replaced it, it stopped doing it. But holy cats. I mean, I was ready. I'm like, they're going to need to call the fire department because I'm going to burn this sucker down if that beeping doesn't stop. But anyway, I digress. I had gone to the post office the other day because I was in a hurry, but I had my little granddaughter in the car with me, and she was, every time I'd stop the car, she knew that the car stopped and she'd start screaming. She's 8 weeks old, and she's fine as long as the car's moving, and otherwise she's mad. And so I just needed to mail something because it was a horse something, and you horse people are crazy about deadlines and real hateful about it. So I had to have a receipt so I can show that I did what I was supposed to do. So I ran into the post office and I met this man on the steps on my way in, and he says, I said, hi, how are you today? And he goes, and I mean, I was in a hurry and I didn't care how he was. I did. I mean, I did, but you know how we are. You just try to say something to be nice. And he goes, my mom is dying in the hospital. I was taken back. And it's like I was running back out to the car because I knew Sybil was screaming her head off. But in that moment, I could just feel God saying, you're going to have to sit here and talk to this man. And so I just stood there and let this sweet man just pour out his soul to me. His mom was dying and he was waiting for a ride, and he was hot, and the place he wanted to stand in was not open. And so he just wanted to stand somewhere cool. And I said, well, the post office is open. Surely they're not going to be mad if you just stand inside the door there. And he didn't want to do that for some reason. He wanted to stand across the street. I was this close, you guys, to just saying, hey, you want to just sit in my car with, my new baby and man I don't know. And he was harmless, I think, but even so, but he just needed someone to talk to for 3 minutes. And it did not kill my granddaughter to lay there and scream. She was fine. As soon as I took off again, she was fine. But it was just, we need to give each other the real time that we need to sometimes just say what it is that's on our heart, because we are broken. I mean, all of us are broken. And when we say that we're fine, that is just simply not true. Sometimes we are. I mean, like sometimes we're golden. Like yesterday, I finished the first edit of my book. I should feel like super relieved, and I don't, which is terrifying because that means it's not even kind of done. But the fact that I got through it, having someone just rip apart everything that you've done, worked really hard on, and then they just like, no. It was a terrible experience. Terrible. But I did it. And so I feel really, really good about that. I just know that I have another mountain to climb with the other. Anyway, the whole purpose of this podcast today is, number one, we are broken and we are not fine. And all I can think about is I saw a t-shirt that said I'm fine, and it had blood coming out of it. We're not fine. So let's try to be there for each other and encourage each other, and like the Bible says, build each other up and not tear each other down, and just listen to people for a minute. I mean, even just for a few minutes, I think it changed. I mean, I'm not saying I made that guy's day, but I think it did his heart a little bit good just to tell somebody how he was feeling. I mean, I really do. My whole purpose of this was talking about hanging on to things. Started the whole thing with being a hoarder. Well, maybe give your mom a break when she's holding on to some of those things that are from old times, because they might actually mean something to her, whether they mean something to you or not. But actually, my hairbrush doesn't really mean anything to me, but now it's just the principle of the thing. But it's funny because when you need me in a pinch for like a shower curtain hanging in your bathroom, I have that. And so being a hoarder is not so bad. Boy, those two topics are completely unrelated, and I'm really sorry that I tried to bring them all together, but that's what I did. And so that's all I got to say. Have a good week.